Well, today we're in a county with a coast, and a pretty blustery one at that, but it's a place that bore witness to one of the most ingenious maritime inventions of the 20th century, one that was powered by the biggest propellers in the world. So where are we, and what am I sitting on? Well, join me in just a few moments and I'll tell you. Today's mission is to help a couple end a year-long quest finding their perfect country home, so it's quick march to places with real potential.
I'd knock that wall out and have a big kitchen diner.
I'll tell you what, she's a quick thinker.
She is a quick thinker.
Isn't she?
She is.
And we're making great strides in one property.
1, 2, 3.
Well, over there is the Solent, beyond it the Isle of Wight, and that of course means that today we are in Hampshire. And it was on this little stretch of coast just outside Gosport that back in the late 50s, one Sir Christopher Cockerell turned his imagination into a reality with the invention of the Hovercraft. Now, of course, these extraordinary vessels are known the world over. Later on in the show, I'll be back here finding out quite a lot more about them. And one thing I can assure you of, there's a lot more to Hampshire than just hot air. Bordered by the home counties of Berkshire and Surrey to the north and east, and Wiltshire to the west, Hampshire holds an enviable position on the central southern English coast, with 34 miles of Solent shoreline. Although Hampshire is one of the most populated counties in England, there are many quieter pockets, home to rural villages and surprisingly vast swathes of countryside. The lowland heath of the New Forest lies within the county's borders, as does a large part of the South Downs, England's newest designated national park. The splendid natural surroundings here were a formative influence on the Hampshire-born literary great Jane Austen, who spent most of her short life in the county, and whose final resting place is in Winchester Cathedral. Now, when it comes to property prices, Hampshire may well make your eyes water. The average detached property here will cost you around about £346,000. If it sounds like a lot of money, well, it is. It's a cool £90,000 above the national average. Why? Well, it's commuter country, with great links into London and, of course, the south coast. And it also benefits from the draw of the New Forest. There you could comfortably add another £100,000 onto that top figure if you fancy living within the forest itself. But there is some good news. Head further west towards Andover and you will certainly get more value for money. And as you would expect in a county as pretty as this and as historic as this, there are some wonderful properties on offer. Hampshire is not as rich in natural building stones as other regions, but there are bands of flint that occur in the chalk heartlands of the Downs, which have been used in the construction of many handsome properties here. Flint and red brick have been beautifully combined in this detached 5-bedroom house in the rural village of Little London. It's thought to date back to the 1700s and is now on the market for £650,000. Another building feature that defines the county's architectural vernacular are its straw-thatched roofs. A prime example is this traditional property, which started life as a Tudor farmhouse and has been carved into 3 cottages, one of which is currently for sale. It has 3 bedrooms and a guide price of £399,000. If you want to upsize that charm a bit, how about this detached Grade 2 listed 17th century cottage near Selborne that comes with 3 bedrooms and a price tag of £550,000. So, pretty houses in pretty villages in pretty countryside. What more does a county have to represent the ideal escape to the country? Hampshire, it would seem, has it all, which of course is exactly why today's buyers want to be here. The desperate plea we're answering today is from a couple stranded on an island. But fortunately for them, that island is the Isle of Wight, where Steve and Lindy are temporarily bunking down in their holiday cottage. In their bid for the country dream, they sold up their house in the Surrey town of Camberley, but now, almost a year later, they're still searching for that elusive dream home.
You know, it just seems that every property we've come across has some snag, and it's so disappointing. And of course, because we're down here on the island, we've had little time and little opportunity to be able to sort of search every day. We have to do a special trip for it.
Linda used to work as a legal secretary and Steve as a retired chartered builder. So now they're not restricted by work commitments and their 5 kids have flown the nest, they want to pursue their rural dream.
We've been in Camberley for 40 years and we knew that area so well. And we knew it when it was the beginning, it was just a small town. And it's got busier and busier and busier.
And so we wanted to move to somewhere quieter. Interimly, we have done that because we've moved to the island.
Yeah, it's too quiet.
But a more leisurely pace of life doesn't necessarily mean a less active one.
I've lived a life of sport, really. I've worn my body out. When I play my squash and tennis, they call me Bandage Man because I have bandages on most limbs.
I like the tap and I would love to get back to the ice skating.
With various sports and social commitments back in Surrey, they'd like a location which keeps them connected, but also opens up new opportunities.
We'd like to be able to walk out of our house and go for a walk, followed by a drink in the local pub.
They converted their 5-bedroom holiday home from a former hospital, which took them 3 whole years to complete. Even so, they're up for a similar challenge again.
Our friends say, what the hell do you want a project at your age for? But we loved,
Must be mad.
Yeah, it's very satisfying to take, a place that's a shell or not in good condition and make it yours.
All that's left is to find out what budget they've earmarked for this final move.
The maximum figure that we really want to spend when we include all the work we may be doing on this project is £550,000.
Mindful that they want to maintain their sporting commitments and long-established friendships, Steve and Lindy's ideal location would give them less than an hour's drive back to Surrey. So we'll be concentrating our house search in the rural villages from east to west of the county, but all with easy access to the M3 for those good road links. And it's in a quiet Hampshire spot where we're all meeting up to nail the specifics of their move. Hello.
Hi there.
How are we then?
Hi.
Nice to see you, Lindy, Steve. Welcome to Hampshire.
Thank you.
Now, this is all quite exciting, but there is some pressure with this move, isn't there?
Well, yes, we have been looking for nearly a year. We sold our house a year ago. And
Yeah.
we haven't found a house yet.
How many houses have you kind of looked at, do you think?
Must be at least 50 houses, I should think we've looked at. You're going to sort this all out for us.
You see, well, you think. I hope we will. But, the fear is that having looked at so many, are you looking for something that's so elusive that it doesn't exist?
Might be
Yes,
true.
are we very fussy?
Might
I
be
don't
true.
think so, because we usually do go along with a very open mind.
Yeah.
I think what's interesting about this is that whatever we find you will also almost certainly differ from what you end up with in the future, because you are clearly going to make some changes to whatever it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's the whole thing, is that we can see something and we do have a vision and we can usually see what we would like, usually straight away.
But in broad terms, what would you start with? Give me a sense of bedrooms, kitchens, that sort of thing.
Well, I suppose a minimum of 2 bedrooms. I think the big thing is we'd like a bit of space and a large garden.
Well, all of those are reasonable considerations. You're clearly good fun. You're up for a bit of a project.
We are?
Let's see what we can find you. Come on.
Yes.
For a top budget of £550,000, Steve and Lindy are looking for a character property with potential to develop further by renovating or extending, but whose bare bones consist of at least 2 bedrooms, spacious living areas and a large garden. Location is key, as they're dreaming of somewhere pretty and peaceful, but close enough to continue their cross-county hobbies. Hopefully our fine selection of textbook country properties will have the character our buyers crave, but also appeal to their creative senses. I'll be keeping them guessing as to what the houses are worth until the end of each tour. Then, to top it off, there's the Mystery House, which presents a different challenge altogether. Without a property to sell and with money burning a hole in their back pockets, let's head straight to our first location, which is in the village of Goodwood Clatford over in West Hampshire, giving them around an hour's journey time to their respective out-of-county commitments. The River Anton meanders through this lovely village, and there's a warm, close-knit community who have all come together to run the village shop and post office. So we're stopping off here to meet Jane Eastwood and find out more of what this village has to offer. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, it's often said that the heart of a village is its shop, and it does make the community tick, and you would know all about that here in Clatford, Jane.
I would indeed. It was my husband's and my shop, and he died in '03, and it is impossible to run this on your own. So very kindly, the village got together and took it over in '04. It's the focal point for so much, and this is a brilliant village too, and there's a huge amount going on. There's a beautiful village
Pubs in
club.
the village?
2.
That's quite unusual,
How about
actually,
that?
to have a choice, yes.
No, there's a lot going on. I mean, this month, for example, we've got the Harvest Supper, which is a church thing, but open, the whole village is invited. We've got a film show, so that's just 1 month. Finding a free night to hold anything is really difficult.
But I mean, it depends on the property, you know. It's a balance.
Well, you've raised an interesting point, of course. We're talking about all this hypothetically. Without the property,
Yeah.
who knows what's going to happen?
Right.
Thank you very much, Jane. After you.
Bye.
Bye.
I suspect our gregarious couple will be spoilt for choice with 2 pubs on the doorstep, and one of them is right opposite our first house. So here we are, property number 1.
It's very pretty.
It
Very
is pretty, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
It's your classic image, I suppose. Roses around the
Yes.
door, wisteria, heart of the village, obviously. It's
Nearly the heart of the road, actually.
Well, it is on the road. I mean, it was built back in, what, mid-17th century.
Actually, it's a quiet road.
So we're happy with thatch? We like where we are?
Yes, very.
Yeah.
Yes.
Come on then, let's tempt you. With authentic history and character, this property is Grade 2 listed, but as they'll see, the internal space downstairs has been updated and opened out to suit modern living. Come in, guys.
Thank you.
There we are. We'll start with this bit. This is quite an interesting addition. It's only been here, what, 10 years or so, but I think this garden room really improves what's on offer here.
This would be a lovely room for entertaining, wouldn't it?
Fabulous, fabulous. Brilliant.
Well, entertaining, you know, goes on into here, because I think this space all works rather nicely, the way it all sort of flows. So you've got the contemporary of the garden room, and then you've got the old of this bit.
I think it's a fabulous sized room as well, and it's a bit quirky. You've
Yeah.
got the staircase, you've got a beautiful fireplace.
The inglenook, lovely. You know, again, going back to the origins of the building. Good. So far, so good, then.
So far, so good.
So far, it's fantastic.
OK. Fantastic.
Wow!
Does that happen a lot?
Saying
That might have been overemphasising it a bit.
Well, let's see if we can qualify that.
good.
Let's see if we can keep it
So far, so good.
fantastic. Do here. So you've got this little snug. Yeah, case, isn't it?
Full of furniture.
Yes.
The wood burner in there.
Well, possibilities.
Yeah.
And then it all sort of flows through back into the kitchen.
Yes, it's
I'd say it looks a bit probably too small. Possibly, I'd knock that wall out there and have a big kitchen
I'll
time.
tell you what, she's a quick thinker.
She is a quick
Isn't she?
She is a quick thing.
Quick as a flash.
Yeah.
You saw it.
That
yeah.
wall's going. Got a hammer?
Well, that wall can go, because this is an extension,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
there's nothing listed about that. But we're getting into the potential of it, and I think that's
Yes.
what's exciting.
Yeah. At least we've
Yeah.
got a bit of a project here, haven't we?
Yes.
There is something we can do here.
Got to find something that
Yeah.
we can do to
Yeah.
change it.
Wow. There's plenty to do upstairs.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Can't wait.
We don't want any more than this to do.
Come and follow me. Look at this. Wrapping up the ground floor, there's also a 4th reception room being used as a study and for storage, along with a smart cloakroom. That takes us full circle back to the living room and the staircase, which leads up to the 1st floor, where there are 3 bedrooms, all served by the family bathroom. Now, this is technically the master bedroom.
You're right, OK.
All right? They are all of a muchness, the bedrooms on this floor. I think you'll agree, looking around all of them. This one, however, might lend itself to becoming a kind of master suite, however, because that wall there is just a stud wall. That can go. But what it's doing is it's cutting in half a lovely little fireplace. You can just see one half of it there with all this...
an alcove.
Yeah,
That's it,
sort
is
of trinkets over it. Exactly. That's one half of it.
Ah.
So let's just go out onto the landing and have a look at the other side of that fireplace, and hopefully the whole thing will begin to make some sort of sense. That's the other side of the fireplace itself, all right? Here, of course, the staircase going up to what is technically the 4th bedroom and a landing. But the technical challenge here, Steve, I think, is to rejig the staircase to allow you a huge master bedroom with the fireplace, you know, as a central feature, but still allowing you to get up to the top.
Yeah, it's a space planning challenge, isn't it?
Well, we've given them scope to fuel their creative instincts, but I'm not entirely convinced they're buying into the potential here. Let's explore the garden and see whether the figures stack up. So, finally, the garden. What you see is exactly what you get.
An apple tree?
Yeah, not huge though, is it?
It's not acres.
No.
No, not acres.
It's not acres.
Certainly not acres.
So, Lindy,
Wait me first.
make me an offer. Go on.
Well, I would think, say, 525.
525, yeah. Steve?
495.
495. Yeah, I can see who's the optimist in the relationship. Well, you are right to be fairly optimistic because this could be yours for £485,000. So automatically,
You were.
yeah, but automatically you've got 75 grand to throw at this, which I think would go, you know, most of the way to doing it.
Yeah,
well, go and scratch a bit deeper, and I'll catch up with you later.
We'll do that.
Let's go and have another
Off you go.
Off we go.
See you later.
With a guide price of £485,000, our first house is a listed timber frame thatch home that has the potential our buyers are after to make some improvements, subject to planning permission, of course. In its current state, it stands as a generous family home with 4 reception rooms and 4 bedrooms. What's more, it's set at the heart of a friendly and lively village.
I love the open spaces downstairs. I love the potential that we have to actually improve things.
Fantastic location, beautiful village, but I just think the garden might be too small for us.
Right, out you come. That's it.
Jules, thank you.
This house tour business is pretty straightforward, isn't it?
Oh, piece of cake.
Piece of cake, easy peasy.
Show us another one.
Another one, how about another 2? Around Hampshire's historic maritime ports lie coastal areas with a distinct heritage of their own. Just east of Portsmouth is the traditional seaside resort of Hayling Island, which became a popular destination in the early 1800s when the well-heeled gentry came seeking the medicinal benefits of sea air and salt water. Health is still very much on the radar, as Hayling Island is home to a unique club, where the historic sport of real tennis is being championed by a team of local enthusiasts. So what better place to send our fitness fanatics Steve and Lindy, where they met up with real tennis expert Nick Jones to find out more about the sport's origins.
Real tennis has been around since the 12th, 13th century, and lawn tennis purportedly started in 1850, 1860.
So what I've heard is it's a bit of a thinking game as well, then, is it? It's not just racing around that court.
It is possible to play it that way, but there are actually markings on the court which are called chases, which are targets, and you actually only serve from one end and you win the right to serve. But it means that you don't necessarily hit every ball and you don't necessarily win a point with every rally.
This sounds complicated.
Yeah.
It is quite complicated, but actually when you get on court...
Sounds like you're going to exhaust our brains rather than exhaust our bodies.
Played on an enclosed court, the game is likened to a cross between squash, cricket and chess, and this particular court has just celebrated its centenary, built back in 1911 by the scientist, insect expert and accomplished real tennis player John Marshall.
When you look out at that court, there's some strange shapes out there.
There are actually 13 different surfaces to play the ball off. The balls in real tennis are very passive, they don't bounce much at all. And you actually use the tension of the strings to move the ball around. Whereas lawn tennis, everyone knows you drop a lawn tennis ball on the floor, it bounces back to your hand almost.
Real tennis balls are tailored to suit each individual court and are all handmade within certain size and weight restrictions.
They started with a certain amount of cork, which we usually use crushed up wine corks, and they put a bit of that in a cellophane wrapper. You then get this dressmaking tape for hems, and you basically wrap it tightly until you get to a certain size and, more importantly, weight. And then you get some twine and you actually tie the ball in a certain pattern and that tightens the whole thing up.
Right.
So then you get this ball cloth, and you cut it into shorter pieces, and that is then tacked, as we call it,
right.
onto the ball. And then the ball is sewn. So they actually sew it and cut it as they're going. Would you like to come and try them on court and see how they bounce for real?
That sounds a good idea.
Yes, thank
Let's
you.
do that.
The sport is often referred to as royal tennis due to its popularity amongst the aristocracy and the monarchy. It's even thought that Henry VIII was informed of Anne Boleyn's beheading whilst playing the game. So, having got to grips with Hampshire's sporting heritage, let's hope that no more heads will roll as our property search continues. Our next house lies over to the east side of the county in Newton Valence, just that bit closer to Stephen Lindy's interests back in Surrey. As it's a rural hamlet, the nearby village of Selborne is the best place to pick up essentials, as it's served by a convenience store and post office, as well as a couple of pubs. Off the beaten track back in Newton Valence is the semi-detached cottage we've cherry-picked as our second house.
Right, what is this? A little cottage.
It is indeed. There we are.
Very sweet.
Very
that is pretty, isn't it?
Really nice, I like it.
I mean, we're in something of a hamlet here, so we haven't got the village that we had in property number 1.
Yeah.
But yes, we've got a nice little semi for you.
But it looks beautiful, doesn't it?
It's very sweet, this one. I mean, the thought that you had in the last property, which was about how do you order the space,
Yeah.
I think with this one it's slightly different. I think we're going to be thinking about how do we extend it.
Yeah.
But I know you're up for that,
we're
so...
certainly up for that.
Yeah. Right, come on then, let's get you in. The core of this cottage has a history that dates back to the late 17th century, but it's been considerably extended to one side where the front door takes us into the main living room. I'm going to start in here.
Oh, another fireplace.
Another nice Inglenook fireplace, yeah.
Yes.
Nice square room again.
Yeah.
It's a
No, it's a nice room, actually.
quite light and spacious.
Yeah.
This, I think, is the room that really describes this house.
Yeah.
And when we talk about its origins, from what you can see, going back to 1680, that's really kind of it. There's an old bread oven you can see just tucked away in the back there.
Oh, yes.
But also you can see immaculately done. I mean, I think that's the point about this one.
It's a good size as well, isn't it?
But I thought it's worth starting in here because I think this rather
love
sets the
this.
scene.
This is
It's a
amazing
great
fireplace,
living room,
isn't it?
actually.
Well, let's see the rest of it. Let's continue our tour through here into the kitchen.
Okay.
Now, in many ways, this, I suppose, is where it all kind of changes.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Get smaller.
It gets a bit smaller. It's a lovely kitchen.
It is.
The point about this building, because it's not listed, and that's the exciting news,
That's good news.
is that I think you could have quite an interesting conversation with the planners about pushing the whole thing that way.
Forward.
And you would create a very nice, I think, kitchen diner then.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it needs it. I think the house needs it.
Well, you could go forward, but maybe you could go backward as well.
Well, behind us is quite a generous bathroom. So, bearing in mind, we have got a bathroom for you on the first floor. You could sacrifice that too. Yeah.
It's got a nice film about it, actually.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Let's carry on then. So there's the bathroom behind the kitchen, which you could extend into, potentially. And then through this little kind of lobby is this, which is described on the spec as the dining room.
Wow.
Which is not the biggest dining room in the world. Cosy.
No, we could make a nice study, though.
That's my thought. Because if you've created this lovely
Yeah.
kitchen diner next door, this would automatically
Be a nice
become
study.
a snug, a study, a den.
Yeah.
And I think where this house also scores is that the upstairs arrangements are much more obvious again, and I think don't really need any great imagination at all.
They're going to be spectacular then.
Come and have a look.
Let's have a look.
You tell me. You tell me. Downstairs does give them that mix of authentic character and the scope to renovate, so let's explore up here. Little sort of study currently in there.
Oh, yes.
So let's finish off in here. This is obviously the master bedroom.
Well, it's a
Good
big room.
size.
Yeah?
It's a lovely large room, yes.
I mean, tiny bed at the moment, which is, I guess,
Yeah, well, we can replace
Oh,
that.
yes.
the odd,
Yes,
the
it
odd
does
thing
go-
about
yes,
it.
it's only a single bed, but it has got fitted wardrobes.
It does indeed. This is the largest of the 3 bedrooms, which has the same footprint as the living room below. Since the third single bedroom sits above the kitchen, if the extension we talked about was double-storey, this would substantially increase its size. With the second family bathroom right next door, the plumbing is already in place to create a rather fantastic master ensuite. But this all depends on the price. OK, let's deal with the garden first, though. The garden is what you see.
Is a vegetable plot.
Well, it's unusual, it has to be said. Now, I suspect you might want to reclaim a bit of lawn.
Yeah.
So of your £550,000, Steve, how much are you going to have to part with here?
I would think it's 470.
470?
I think it's probably 480.
480. You two are getting quite good at this.
Go on, what is it?
It's 479.
Oh!
500.
480 then.
480.
I think we'll give that to you.
I think you should give that to
Fair
me.
Yeah.
You've got one, I've got one.
Yeah.
Let's call it 480.
Yes.
Call it quits on the guesses so far. One each. Right then, go on. Have another look around. And I'll catch up with you later on. Off you go.
Thank you.
For a fraction under £480,000, this semi-detached, extended character cottage comes with 3 bedrooms. And with 17th century origins, it still retains its historic features in the 2 reception rooms. However, the property isn't listed, so subject to planning permission, there is the possibility to extend. And as it's £70,000 under budget, there's a generous pot left over with which to make alterations.
When I first came here, I loved the location. I didn't feel as if I was completely cut off because there were other houses nearby. Actually, it could work. It could possibly work for us, I think.
When we came into the house, I think we felt that it was quite small, and it is quite small, but it is a village we've looked at before, so I think we would be considering this house. What
How
do you think
far
is-
would you bring
right,
it out
let's just
here?
see 1, 2, 3, 4. So as I said, it's about 4 metres wide.
Yeah.
I feel like I've just walked into the Ministry of Funny Walks. Is it as big as you thought it was?
Do better than that. Yes,
Well,
it is.
yes.
Right then, so we've got a plan.
I think so.
Right then, this
Yeah.
way. Follow me.
Okay.
Ready?
Thank you.
1, 2.
Here we go.
As the sun sets across the countryside, the first part of our Hampshire house hunt comes to an end. Retired couple Steve and Lindy sold up their Surrey lifestyle a year ago and have been staying in their Isle of Wight holiday home whilst searching for a property with scope for a project in the Hampshire countryside. So far, they've seen 2 houses with that potential, both of which fell within their £550,000 budget. But still to come, the mystery house is full of surprises.
This is nice. I was expecting a small kitchen.
And I take off in a vehicle designed and built on Hampshire's shores. Well, there's nothing like starting the day in good company. How about this lot? Morning, boys and girls. How are we? Well, they all seem fairly happy, as indeed does Steve and Lindy. And as you can probably tell, we're having quite a bit of fun on this house search, but we mustn't let that detract from the serious business, of course, of trying to find them a new home. Now, they made it very clear that they're up for a project. We've looked at 2 properties which certainly lend themselves to that. But for our mystery house, well, we thought we'd flip the coin somewhat and give them a property that isn't a project at all, one in which they can simply move in and get on with it. And like all mystery houses, it may challenge them, but hopefully it'll thrill them. Well, what a sensational day to finish up on.
It is. It's fantastic, isn't it?
Are we getting there? Are we any further down the road, do you think, to helping clarify what your new home may look like?
The second house we saw yesterday got closer in location. The first one was closer in size, wasn't it?
Yes.
Well, let's hope the mystery house seals the deal. Our final stop is back over in West Hampshire, in the tiny hamlet of Little London, which makes for a really rural escape, but is still well connected to road links for Steve and Lindy's numerous hobbies. The neighbouring village of Smannel is within walking distance, with its mid-19th century brick and flint church being a local landmark, as well as a family-run pub. But it's this delightful detached thatched cottage back in Little London that we've chosen as our mystery property. So here we are then, at long last.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really, really nice. Yes.
Beautiful.
It's quite big, it looks like, from the outside, too.
It is. It's also
A garage.
got a garage.
Yes,
Now, guess my
essential.
next question.
Has it got a pool?
Is it listed?
No. The other reason it's our mystery house is because it's not a project.
Is that good?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think so. Well,
It'd be pretty spectacular inside, then.
It's pretty spectacular, I would say.
Is it?
You could just live.
Move
Yeah,
in.
live.
Move in.
Right then, let's have a look. Come on.
Okay.
Although this is another cottage dating back to the 17th century, it's already been significantly extended and modernised throughout. But it remains to be seen whether it's to our buyers' tastes. Right, let's start in here. Come on through.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
What do you reckon?
lovely room, isn't it?
Really nice. I mean, in terms of kitchen diners, this, without doubt, is the best one
It's beautiful size.
we've been able to show you. A lot of work has been done on this house over the last 5
yes,
years
it
or
does
so.
look-
I should say it's only partly furnished at the moment. It's not lived in currently, so it does allow you to see the space,
Yeah.
I think, without too much clutter. But it's nicely dressed, you know, to sell. And the kitchen then continues right the way through here. Have a look at this, Lindy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, this is nice. I was expecting a small kitchen.
Not
Yeah.
a small kitchen.
No, it's fantastic, actually. Brilliant for entertaining, I must say.
Good. Well, the entertaining space continues. Let's go through here. So this is the first of 2 reception rooms that you've got.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
Wood
Yeah.
burner there as well. This is the older bit of the building, as you can probably tell from the beams.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. It's a lovely room.
Ah.
Nice colours as well. God,
Are you
choose
pleased
the
we
colours.
came to our mystery house?
Yeah.
I am.
You just quietly said to me, didn't you, this might be the best one we've seen, but
Yes, it is.
then-
Yes.
we don't know yet. You have to
It
show us
might
some
be
more.
the best one you've seen. Well, let's hope it is. Come through here. So back across the hallway into the extension, we've got this. Another lovely snug.
Wow, another
Another room.
room.
Yeah. So you've got 2 big, officially reception
right.
rooms.
Yes.
We can have a living room each then, Lindy.
yeah.
Well,
That'd be
that sounds a
handy.
good idea to me.
And you've got a nice wood burner over
Yeah.
there. Stable
And another
door,
door.
again, out to the garden, which is nice. So you can open that up, let
Yeah.
the
This
breeze
is the
through.
extension, isn't it?
This is the extension. So it's been done very sympathetically with
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
these
That's
timbers.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice wooden floor.
I think this is probably the most generous
Yeah.
we've had a chance to show
Yes.
you,
Yeah.
and the most well appointed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the cheapest?
I'm not telling you the price yet, Steve. Oh, everybody always tries to get the price out of me, but no. Come upstairs. The ground floor also benefits from a cloakroom, and then up on the first floor is a fully tiled family bathroom alongside 4 bedrooms. These include a good-sized double next to a smaller room featuring exposed timbers and a box room.
This is the master bedroom?
This is technically the master bedroom. Unfurnished,
Oh, yes.
but it allows you to see how much space there is. And, of course, it's got an ensuite. But, yeah, nicely
Shower.
finished.
Yeah,
Lovely.
nice
Yeah.
big shower.
Good. So I think our mystery house
Yeah.
seems to have, you know, put a smile on your faces in a way that the
Yes.
others didn't.
Well, it's certainly, would you think it's one of the nicest, it's probably the best house we've seen.
They've all, like all houses,
They've
they've
all
all
got
got
pros
their
and
own
cons,
merits,
but-
haven't they?
Well, the mystery house is working its magic and really getting our buyers thinking. The dilemma is whether or not they can bear to down tools. So, time to find out whether the garden will convince them. If anything's going to sell a white house, it's the sunshine.
Yes.
So again, what you see is pretty much what you get, but it's got this lovely bit of standing here for al fresco dining,
yeah.
Yeah.
should you wish.
Yes.
And then behind us, we've got the garage, double garage, but it's been subdivided to provide an office space here. So garden office, should you need it, or maybe another den, Steve.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Another place where you can watch,
Well, you
telly.
could go. Yes.
Shall we have a think about the price?
Oh, dear.
Oh,
You're gonna
do we
say
have
that.
to?
Oh, this is a difficult one.
Go on then, Lindy. You've got $550 at the top of your budget
Yeah.
to spend.
Well, it's already done and it's not a project. I think it's about 525.
525, yeah.
This is a difficult one, isn't it? I would have thought it's 550, 555.
555, just outside your budget. Well, your instincts are right, Steve. Because this would set you back all of your budget at £550,000.
Right. Yeah.
Which I think is fair enough,
It's the top
actually.
end.
Doesn't
It is the
surprise
top
me.
end,
Doesn't
and-
surprise me.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you certainly wouldn't have to do anything inside.
No. Right then, off you go. Take your time and
Right.
enjoy exploring
Thank you.
our mystery house. Right on budget at £550,000, our mystery property is a beautifully renovated 17th century thatched cottage that really challenges our buyers to kick back against their preconceptions for a project. Ready to move into, it gives them a large kitchen diner, 2 reception rooms and 4 bedrooms, one with an ensuite shower room. Then outside, the garden has been immaculately landscaped and has the added bonus of a single garage with an office.
It has got a lot going for it. Even though it looks perfect, there are still things that we would like to do with it.
The house inside, I love it. It's lovely inside. It's a possibility, this house. Anyway, we need to think about it.
So 3 properties, all very different.
Completely different, and I think we'll really have to put our thinking caps on about all these 3 different houses we've seen.
Right then, put them on. Let's start thinking. Hampshire's coastal location has ensured a long and distinguished role in Britain's maritime history. And based at the former HMS Daedalus site in the town of Lyon-Solent is the world's largest collection of hovercraft. They've been brought together and lovingly conserved by a voluntary group of hovercraft devotees, determined to celebrate the legacy of this pioneering but somewhat eccentric example of 20th century British technology. I've come to find out how it all got off the ground with museum trustee Warwick Jacobs. Warwick.
Hello, Jules. Nice to meet you.
Hello, mate. Nice to meet you. This is absolutely fabulous, isn't it? Now, the collection here isn't open to the public on a regular basis. You're hoping to transform this site.
We have 6 big days a year where we have a hover show, and the rest of the time is by appointment. But with the land agents and working ahead, we're hoping this is going to be a permanent hovercraft museum.
But Warwick, what happened to remove these craft from the seascape, as it were?
Really, well, they've done quite well. 33 years in service across the English Channel, and they competed against the Channel Tunnel for 10 years. But where it went wrong was duty-free was abolished, and that's where the profits laid.
So that really is why these are now here laid up forever.
That's right, and these are all gas turbine gas guzzlers. 4 tons of fuel an hour they would use, yeah.
And these huge skirts would support them. They look rather sad now, all kind of droopy and redundant.
You've got 30 tons of rubber there, Jules.
Amazing. Invented by Sir Christopher Cockerell in the 1950s, the hovercraft was a revolutionary form of transport that floated on a cushion of air and could operate on both sea and land. The museum showcases a medley of seafaring vessels, from mammoth cross-channel hovercraft to 5-fan beasts and smaller single-seaters for racing. And these look like a bit of fun.
Yes, the hoverboards used at the Sydney Olympics, and the
Brilliant.
hover bike.
And what about all that? That looks,
They're the James Bond hovercraft from Die Another Day.
Are they?
And they had a fleet of 15, 16, 17 craft they had in that film.
Now what's this? There's a lovely logo there.
Sultan of Oman. This was his private hovercraft for getting from the royal yacht to his palace.
That's rather nice, isn't it? Well, I
Yeah.
suppose you can afford it if you're the Sultan of Oman.
Well, he
can't
had 3 of them, so he must have liked them. But this is Cockerell's original
This is
model.
it?
Yeah, this is the one, the SRM-1, which was later built into a man-carrying model, which crossed the Channel in 1959.
So the idea is that air is drawn in through this huge fan in there.
Yes.
And I guess it's got to go somewhere and it has to lift the hull.
That's right. Best way to show you how it works
Yeah.
is to try it. It's still working, so if you get one end, I get the other, Jules. We'll show you.
I do love a good model. It's actually heavier than I was
It
expecting.
is, yeah. You imagine it to be very light,
Yeah.
but the bigger a hovercraft gets, the more efficient it all works. So the mathematics works. You watch in there as I start the motors up. So you try moving it now. It's
Yeah,
pretty-
absolutely solid, isn't
It
it?
is.
Yeah.
With just a little bit of air, you can start moving it.
I push it.
Yeah.
Look at that. Brilliant. You could say that this original 1950s model is the father of all hovercraft. And within a decade, this technology was transformed into the biggest passenger hovercraft in the world. Now, I've never had the pleasure of travelling on one of these extraordinary machines. That is, until now. Well, there's a first time for everything. And today it's hovercraft. Hampshire, history and hovercraft. A pretty good combination for a nice day out, but we're not here to holiday. We are, of course, here to house hunt. Have we managed to bring Steve and Lindy's year-long quest to a successful end? I wonder. Well, Lindy, Steve, when we first met, you said that you'd looked at over 50 properties in one way or another, and that maybe we could solve the problem with just 3 more. So have we managed to do it? Our first one, that lovely timber frame thatch.
I mean, the thing is, it satisfied the project bit, didn't it? Because
Yes.
downstairs there was a project, knocking the kitchens through, but quite a simple project in a way.
Yeah.
Upstairs, knocking the 2 rooms into one, back into one room, and maybe reciting the staircases. For us, I think we found that idea quite exciting.
Quite a challenge.
But it would have been possible, I think, for us.
Yeah.
When we got to property number 2, something of a hamlet there, a semi-detached, really. But there we did need to consider a proper kind of extension.
Yes, I love the setting of the house.
We saw how the house could be extended, didn't we? But again, we've got doubts about the size of the garden as related to the amount of extension we'd have to do on it.
I mean, to be fair, you've really thought about the merits of these properties.
Yeah, we have.
But that said, we thought our mystery house, we'd make it easy. You know, we turned things around and we said, well, let's give you something that's actually pretty much done.
Yeah, that was a lovely house. I mean,
Beautiful house.
Yeah.
It is just the sort of house that we would like to have finished with when we'd done a project. So it was like just walking into a house that's already been done. It was perfect. It was quite big as well.
Yeah.
it was
It
probably
was a big
bigger than the
house,
houses we were
actually.
looking at. But I don't know.
Have we... I mean, I think that the truth of the matter is that we haven't resolved this problem. We have not found you your new dream home.
No, you haven't, but then it's made us more aware that we could probably go out a little bit further and get more for our money.
So it's not all lost.
Not all lost.
But I think the truth is the search goes on.
Search goes on.
I think it will be
But
back
with
to
some
the drawing board.
slightly different parameters.
Yeah.
Guys, it's been a great pleasure. Lots of fun. Let us know how you get on. And very best of luck.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You know, when I meet couples like Lindy and Steve and I discover that they've been looking for over a year, they've looked at 50 houses, and of course they still haven't found what they're looking for, to be honest, the alarm bells do begin to ring, and it begs a question: why? I'm not convinced that it's a failure of the property market, because at the end of the day, when we're looking for a home, we also need to find somewhere that can accommodate our lifestyle, and those things have to be in balance. But I suspect that for them, the scales are still a little uneven. I do think they will move to Hampshire for all the right reasons, but as to when, well, as ever, only time will tell. If you'd like to escape to the country in Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland or England and would like our help, then please apply online at bbc.co.uk/be on a show.